The Black Ice Chronicles Massive. This is Crazy D. What do I want to speak on today? You know, I've spoke on responsibility, more responsibility, and now I'm going to speak on personal responsibility. Each one be what they want to see in the world. What do I mean by that? Personal responsibility. Personal responsibility means that when you give your word means something, that you follow through on what you say you're going to do. When you get to the point where you don't even have to say it and it comes to full fruition, that's when you know that you are beginning to operate on a totally other level. So again, when you give your word, what you say you're going to do, you have to follow through on it, no matter how painful it is. Also, your word has to mean something, meaning that you can't say, "Oh, I didn't say that," when you know that you did, or take the time to go back and research to see if you actually did say that. Your word has to mean something. So one, when you give your word, you follow through on what you said you're going to do. And two, your word has to mean something. And you say, "Yes, I said that." And your viewpoint may have changed over years. "Yes, I said that, but I have learned and gained more knowledge on the subject, and thus and so I have advanced, and I believe this now." So why do I speak on this? Well, we have an election coming up on November 8th, and neither one of the candidates are worthy, in my opinion, of my vote. And my personal responsibility is to see that black people advance. Now, all black people may not care about that. Some may be wanting to live the white code. Others may want to live the black code when it's convenient. Other than that, they want to be on the white code. Then there's some of us who follow the code, that we're coded up, that we don't speak against our own in a malicious way, especially in front of people who are potentially white supremacist racist. So there's an election coming up, and I don't know if you have or if you haven't been following the news. The big thing in the news is about this Latino Miss Universe from 1996, some way back then. She says that Donald Trump talked bad about her because she gained like 20 pounds or so. Well, he says she gained 20 pounds. So I'm putting both stories together to get somewhere the truth is right there in the middle. Okay, so she's saying that he talked about her, and he's saying that, it is a beauty pageant, and, if you gain 20 pounds, if you go to Chick-fil-A and you gain 20 pounds right after you get the crown, then you're not standing up to your obligations as Miss Universe. Because when you signed up, you understand that you have to have a particular appearance, and that appearance enables you to be Miss Universe and keeps the stature of what it is. It's about thin, bony women. That's what it's pretty much about. It's thin, bony women who can figure into what is the beauty standard of white supremacists and racists, basically. That's what it is. Okay, let's make that clear. And the black women who win, they're still built better, but that's a whole nother subject, so we're not gonna get on there. Let's stay on. Let me not get off on a tangent here. Let me stay where I'm at. Now, the first interview, she did an interview on MSNBC, and this is what ties into black people, because other than that, that's white people's problems. But what ties into black people as far as this election is concerned is she sits there with the reporter on the first interview on MSNBC, and the reporter asks her, "You think Donald Trump is racist? What proof do you have that Donald Trump is racist?" And she says that, you know, besides talking about or whatever he would say, now she drops her eyes, which makes me think automatically that she's lying. Just my opinion, she's lying. She dropped her eyes, he says, and she goes, as if this is something that they have planted her to say. And then her eyes raised back up, and she says, he would joke and say bad things. I'm paraphrasing now. Bad things about black people, and I didn't quite agree with it because I have respect for it. Respect for it. Go back and watch the film. Now, how long have you been in America where your English is still broken like that? Or is it that you don't really believe what you're saying at that point? When you were talking about what he said about you, oh, the English is pretty clear with a little dialect. We can hear your dialect in there. But when you were talking about that, it seemed like it was contrived, and in my opinion, that was a lie. She just threw that in, and then on the rest of the interviews, on the other channels, she didn't talk about the black thing anymore. She just talked about how he called her looking like a maid, and looking like and being over pounds, and being Miss Piggy and all that. Well, this is the way I see it. I have dealt with a lot of people in my time as far as talent is concerned. And sometimes talent can be very difficult with what they do and what they say. If you sign a contract that says that you are supposed to look a certain way, be able to continue to put the image across for however long the contract says, you have to follow through on that contract. It is your personal responsibility to follow through on that contract. Other than that, all bets are off. And if you were difficult and you were talking, then the person who you are talking to and being rude to has the right to then turn around and be rude, and sometimes even more obnoxious than you, back at you. And it can't be one-sided and thinking, okay, well, I was talking all this and I was saying that, but he didn't have any right to say anything to me. Yes, he did. If it wasn't getting through, just saying, well, you know, I think you need to lay off the Chipotle, or you need to lay off the sriracha. You got to lay off for the good food until your year is up. If calm talking doesn't get it and the person becomes belligerent, then it's upon you to do what's necessary to make sure that your brand stays and looks and the image remains what you want it to be, which is, again, bony white women with no, but that's a whole nother story. Okay? So for her to sit up there and do that, she obviously is, in my opinion, not a person of her word, which is part of her personal responsibility to have kept her word through it. Okay. So now, speaking on, your word has to mean something. Now, Donald Trump sat up there first initially and said, oh, where did you get that from? Oh, that didn't happen. I didn't say it like that. That was at the debate. Then he comes back and then he says, you know, Hillary Clinton dug that up, which is true. She did dig that up. But that's a real non-factor in this election. But he goes to show character on his part, because he stumbled around for the answer instead of just saying it was a contract signed, whoop, whoop, whoop. When there's a contract signed, people who know business understand business. And he said that she was difficult, but he was trying to be gentlemanly. I see. Often you see little traits of being a gentleman come out in Donald Trump. And he was trying to be gentleman. He just said that she was difficult, and he left it at that, because I think that he really likes to battle at the person face to face, or if it's something that really matters, then he'll battle. I can understand that, right? But so it goes to his word not meaning anything, right? And then on Hillary Clinton's side of it, Hillary Clinton has said nothing about black people. She will come up and she will say minority. We're going to get jobs for minorities. And then she goes on the women's issue. And then she goes into the homosexual issue. But she doesn't say what she's going to do for black people. You see, when you clump people up in minorities, if you haven't seen my other Crazy D Speak song, go back and watch the one about minority, and you'll be caught up on what I'm talking about. We are not a minority, we are the majority. She has said nothing about black people. And speaking on word and personal responsibility, back in the 90s, she called young black males super predators, and her husband passed through the 3 strikes legislation, which decimated the black community. Have they really apologized? No. Would I trust someone doing that, who had done that? No. And so she wants to ignore that she even did that she was even a proponent of it in the first place. So this goes to personal responsibility and word. Now, so why neither one of them are good, in my estimation, for my vote, is for that very reason. Their word in 2 different aspects of word, personal responsibility and your word meaning something, neither practice that. So why should they have my vote? So that's it. Put it all together, figure it out, and then come to your own conclusions. Stay tuned. The Black Ice Chronicles.